my topic today, which I have decided to talk on, is a little premature, I feel, but it's a good topic to address, which is the topic of recession and how to be positive in a recession and how to find the positives in a slow market time. This is something that affects all of us in our business place, and I'd like to start with a story about a vada pav guy from a village in Maharashtra. And let's, for the sake of reference, say this vada pav guy's name is Hariya. And Hariya was really good at what he did. He would wake up early in the morning, he would go to the market, he would buy the best potatoes, he would use the highest quality oils, he would hire the best staff, he would keep his kitchen clean. And he did this for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And finally his business was doing really well. Global economy, recession चल रहा था, नहीं चल रहा था, हरिया भाई का वड़ा पाव बिक रहा था. It was a market in Maharashtra, didn't even know what a recession was. So he had a lot of money now, did really well. He decided that I'm going to take my son and I'm going to send him to a fancy MBA college, degree. So बेटे को भेज दे MBA करने को. And son went, did his MBA, comes back, and he tells his father, "Father, do you know what is happening in the world?" So father says, "No, what is happening? Please tell me. I'm clueless. I'm just busy making vada pavs every day." So the son says that, you know, what is happening is there is a global recession going on. So the father says, "What is the recession? I don't even know what a recession is." So the son explains to the father that a recession is when the economy slows down, people are not willing to spend a lot of money, it's more and more difficult to make larger sums of money. So the best thing to do during a recession is to hold back. So Hariya says, "Okay, my son has done his MBA from a college, he's very well educated, so maybe I should listen to him and I should also start changing my business after what he has just told me." So what does he start doing? He starts buying slightly inferior quality potatoes to save money. He starts using oil for longer and longer periods, again to save money. And he also starts to hire freshers and let go of older staff who he had to pay higher salaries to. All this results in something which we all know what it does result in, which is a loss of quality for Hariya's product for the first time. We're talking about vada pavs out here for those who came late. And eventually he does end up going into an actual recession. So for the first time in 30 to 40 years, Hariya bhai, the vada pav wala from some village in Maharashtra, goes into a recession. And the moral of the story, what I take from this is that you only go into a recession when you let the recession become a reality. Most of the recession is in our heads, most of the recession is in our minds. Of course, some of it could be real, but it becomes a real hard-hitting fact in our lives only when we open up and say this is a reality. But even if it is a reality, there are certain positives that can happen during a recession. Like, I'd like to share a very personal story about my life, which not too many people know. Is I went through a very tough phase in my life in 2007, 2008. What had happened at that time was I had just moved from Bangalore to Bombay, and I had found a job, I had gotten married, and I found out very soon that we were having a son also. All this happened in a period of 1 year, 3 months. And as soon as we found out we were having a kid, we bought a house. The EMI was very big. It was more than 50% of my salary at that time. And while everything seemed to be going well, I got fired from the job. And this happened in 2007 and 2008 beginning ke aaspaas. So obviously, luckily at that time, my network was good enough, so I found another job almost immediately. Within 2 or 3 days, I found another job. But as luck would have it, or whatever would have it, I got fired again from this job. And I'm not saying I lost the job, I'm saying I got fired. There's a big difference. So, whatever the reason why I got fired, I mean, you all can guess why people get fired from jobs. There are 100 reasons. But what I took from that personal recession story is that I need to do something different. I need to course correct. I need to make some major changes in my life so that I don't go through this and my family does not go through this for every 6 months or every 1 year of my life. And that is why for the first time I decided to run my own business. It didn't happen very naturally because there is no one in my family who does business, who has almost nobody in my family who's ever worked as a businessman. And I don't have any business training. So at that moment of my life when I said, let me start something, I did not do one thing. I started 3 different companies, or rather 3 different projects. One of them was a writing project for MTV. One of them was a social media company, which I called Super Chuha at that time. And this was 8 years back when nobody had even heard of social media. So I started this 8 years back. And then finally there was Voxbox, which I started again. And within 6 months it was very clear to me that Voxbox is the company that is going to take me further. So I stopped working on the other 2 projects and I focused on Voxbox. And so within about, by now it's Voxbox about 8 years old. And in the last quarter, I have made more money from Voxbox than I would have made in a whole 1 year of working as a salaried employee. So I believe somewhere that I had done the right thing. My learnings and what I believe, I hope that you all also learn from my story is that in any downtime there is always a positive, and I have broken them down to three major learnings that one can do from a downtime. One is, in a global recession, you can find better people for lower amounts of money because people don't have enough jobs in the market. They work harder, they're more grateful to have jobs, and also they work at more competitive salaries. This is the common phenomenon in HR. Anyone will tell you this, that a time of recession is actually a good time to hire people if you want to hire good quality people. The second thing about a recession, whether it's be a personal thing or a global thing, is it gives you some amount of downtime in your business. It gives you some amount of time from running away from your day-to-day chores, and it lets you focus on reinventing and rethinking your processes, your internal ways of your company. We are so busy running around doing our day-to-day thing that sometimes we might not revisit a problem that continues to be a thorn in our side. For example, in my company, I know for a fact that payments is a big issue because I get money and I spend it and suddenly I realize, "Arey, isko payment karna, usko payment karna," that hits me later. And there is something I haven't addressed till 8 years. In my 8th year, I finally started addressing it. But I'm guessing that in downtime, these are the sort of things that we should address in our companies. Continuous issues which we haven't addressed, our downtime will give us that amount of time to work on that. And the third and the most important thing, so the first thing was hiring people is easier. The second thing is you can rebuild your systems. For example, some of the systems that I built 8 years back, I'm still using them out here. That's a positive and a negative. And the third thing, which I believe is a little more difficult to address internally, is introspection and course correction, which is looking into ourselves and seeing, are we in the right field first of all? And if we are in the right field, are we handling it the right way? Abhijit had said something about 4 meetings back, I think, where he said that it is not what you think you know, it is not what you know or what you don't know that will adversely impact your business. It is what you think you know. So a lot of people in the day-to-day struggle just to survive and the day-to-day struggle just to run their business, they tend to build a lot of fallacies about their own business. And obviously when a recession happens, when a downtime happens, you get a space to meditate, you get a space to be calm, maybe not completely calm because you are fighting a lot of battles, but you definitely get the time to reevaluate and relook at your business, and that I believe is one of the biggest positives that can come out of any downtime.